thank you for coming along to watch my channel today. This is the first chatty video I've done in a little while. It's the summer holidays still here, so the children are all still off school and we've been away and we've had sickness in the house, so it's been a bit tricky to try and film something where I'm talking to you, but can I just say a big thank you to all the people who entered my 500 subscribers giveaway. I really appreciate all the support and I hope that everybody continues to watch. I did say before that I've made the decision to keep my channel much more to art journaling now. The reason mostly being is because the mixed media pieces just take so long and are so hour intensive for what you get at the end of it, that I feel that the art journaling is much more beneficial and seems to be the thing that people mostly want to watch, so that's why I'm sticking with that. So I hope that's okay with everybody. Now today I've got a tiny little haul, like just two things I'm going to show you that I've got today, and then we're going to do an art journal spread. And I'm going to try today to sort of push myself to be just working directly onto the paper, so no extra bits cut out and stuck on. So this could be interesting. Now this is my Dylusions small flip journal, which as you can see is, now I have actually reached the last page. Now I have to admit, not every single page has got a proper spread on it, but there are only a couple of pages that haven't, but it is now almost complete. So I did treat myself to a new one, and I've treated myself to another one of these because I love the size of it. I love the Dylusions journals. I like the paper, it's lovely and smooth, it takes a lot of abuse, but I also like the orientation of this, the way it's sort of like that way landscape. I've just, for some reason it appeals to me, so I did treat myself to another one of those. I also treated myself to a set of these. Now I'm going to semi-blame Luz Sims for this because I watched her demoing these on Crafty TV, but I have had these pens in the past, and for some reason once they were finished with I never really got any more, but I did have a little tiny set, they're here, of these 5 Stardust ones, and I actually got them out to use them the other day, and I realised how much fun they are and how much I really enjoy them, so I decided to treat myself to the sort of mixed set. So we've got, there's 12 Stardust, so that's the glittery ones, there's 6 metallics, and then there's 5 of the neons and then 1 white. Now I've left them in here just to show you now, but I am actually going to pop them in here, so I'll do that right now. And I did go through and do a little swatch. Now I've got to work out how I close them. The reason I'm putting them out is because once I started getting them out, they got a bit floppy within the case, which I didn't like, so I'm literally going to, so there's my swatch I did on white. I did do one on black as well, so I'm not quite sure where that's gone. So I'm going to pop them all in there. They do have different lids, so you can tell which are which with them. So you know, I'm not going to get. Oh, there's the black. So there was my swatch on the black, and that was my swatch on the white. Because I was just literally sitting here one evening, and I decided to have a little play. So if I just show you, so for example. So on the metallics, it's sort of got a solid colour lid and it's sparkly, whereas the Stardust, which are actually sparkly, have got like a clear lid with, and then they've got the blob of colour in the top, so you can tell. And then your neons, obviously they are the fluorescents have like a fluorescent colour to them. So I've got those to play with today as well. And I thought what would go beautifully with those, I'll just bring it in here. This is my tub of Julia McNeil Designs stamps and stencils. So I've got all sorts of different ones. I've got some of the steamy punk ones, I've got some of the florally ones, I've got some like the fairy type ones, I've got the birds, some birds, I've got Alice in Wonderland style. I've got Lady B. I've got some under the... I've got all sorts of different ones from Julie. I don't know. Oh, I obviously didn't bother putting that. Oh no, it's in the packet. It's just on the wrong side for some reason. I've got a couple of her stencils as well. You can see I have bits that I've already cut out that I then pop in a packet. So I'm going to use some of those because I thought they'd go nice with the pens. So we're going to start off. I always take this piece off. I know not everybody does, but I'm going to get some scissors to cut it rather than try and do it with my hands because it's quite tough sort of paper. So there's a bit at the front and there's also a bit at the back. So what does it say on here? It says Dylusions Creative Flip Journal features heavyweight mixed media cardstock, ideal for the application of Dylusions inksways and techniques using water, inks, paints and other mediums. The journal cover, made from sturdy chipboard, contains 36 unlined pages for endless creativity, and then it says another thing. So let's take those off, put them in the bin. What I also like is you do get your elastic to keep it together, and inside you do get this pocket. I honestly don't tend to use it, but I like how the paper is all sort of bound together there like that. Now the front page I always find is a bit stuck there, so I'm going to turn it to the next one. I'm going to probably just go for this page, but I might sort of go into that page a little bit. And I thought to keep this, I'm going to keep this a really simple page, as in I'm not going to have lots of different mediums and things. So I thought we'd stick with Distress ink. So I just picked out a few nice colours. So I've got Festive Berries, Warm Lipstick, Crushed Olive, Salvaged Patina, Dried Marigold and Mustard Seed, because I thought they were a nice selection across the rainbow. Let me just put them along so that you can actually see all the colours, hopefully. Yes, so I'm going to use my blending brushes. Now these are not made for the craft industry. These are ones I bought quite a while ago now that are intended really for makeup. So they don't hold an awful lot of ink, which is actually what I like the best about them, because I can just take them when I finish using them, brush off any little bit of excess that's left onto my piece of kitchen towel, and I can use them in another colour. I don't have to keep a specific colour to a specific brush. You could, because to be fair, I accidentally use them, because I do keep them for my Distress inks. I don't mix them with my oxides, but I did accidentally use them with my oxides recently, and I did then go and wash them, and it was amazing how much ink actually is inside there, but it doesn't come off when you're using them. So I'm going to start with the Mustard Seed because it's the lightest colour, and just put some colour down. So this is a background. I'm not worried too much if I'm blending it beautifully, but these brushes, if you do struggle with blending, they are really good for that, because they sort of give you the immediately much more airbrushed look, if that's the look that you want. So you can always build up. So I tend to put like a smaller amount of colour down, so it make a lighter shade, and then if I want to add a little bit more in, then I do by just going over the top. I don't know why I put them there, that was just a bit silly, wasn't it? So let's have a sort of warm background. Let's move those. So I'm going to take my kitchen towel, I'm just going to rub off a bit of that. I'm going in a colour way so that it's not going to really matter too much if I get some on my ink pad. So this is a dried marigold, so let's pop it on there so it's easier to get hold of. And I tend to hold it on the top of the brush, just because I think, I mean, they're not the most sturdy of necks, if you see what I mean. So I do tend to hold it there. I hold it there anyway because I think you get a better laying down of your ink, because you're giving the pressure in the area that it needs to be. So it seems to be molting. I keep finding hairs everywhere. So let's get some of the orange. So this is quite a, I would say, in terms of the Distress inks, the dried marigold is one of the more subtle oranges. I do have, I think, what's the other one I have? The Spice Marmalade, I think that's a bit more of a stronger orange. I'm not going all the way across that page, I just want to give a little bit of colour into there, but I'm going to focus on this one primarily. But I like to sort of have a little bit of continuation. So yeah, so this is a much lighter than your Spice Marmalade, but you can, again, if you want to build up that colour a bit more. To be honest as well, my Distress Inks I have had a long time, and I do really use them, so they do last a long time. So they sometimes I'm never sure if it's the colour or if it's just because I've had them such a long time. I don't know anymore whether they're running out. So let's get some of that off of there, and then we're going to go warm lipstick. So we'll stick with the warm theme for the background. Let's just add some little bits of that in, just some little circles of pink. So I think what other pinks there? There's picked raspberries are much more brighter pink. But this is one of my favourites, warm lipstick. It's pink but not too pink, let me. And of course there is the new Kitsch Flamingo, which is also very nice as well, or Pink Flamingo as I always usually forget and call it. Let's go that right over to the edge there. I don't know if you can see that bit, but right, so I'm going to leave that background like that, and now I want to put some stenciling. So I'm going to go with, this is, I'm going to do the McNeil stencils. I'm just going with all of her things here because they're in front of me now. So this is it's like dangling chains. Do you know, it wasn't even in the packet, it was just laid on the top for some reason. That's quite strange. Right, now I'm going to go with, now these are water reactive, they are going to react with each other and blend with each other, so I do have to consider that when I'm putting my colour down. As I was going to go with green, but I think I might make a brown, but if I do it quite lightly, let's get the smaller brush. Let's try a bit of crushed olive and see how that comes in, because I think that it should be alright if I'm not too heavy handed. So let's just go. This is when you could stick your stencil actually properly down, because as you can see I did move it. I'm not going to worry about that. For me, art journaling is just about the process. Not just about, but obviously I do like to have a nice page at the end of it if I can, but at the end of the day it is about using your products, using your techniques, maybe getting things out that you want to get out, and so it's the actual process. Oopsie, again I moved. The process of doing the art journaling. Now there's probably going to be stamping over the top, so I'm not going to worry. There we go, so that's quite nice there. I'm going to put just a little bit over here, just so that it like echoes the page, to make it look like a complete spread and not, I'm doing it a bit lighter as well, just so it echoes it a bit. That's that one. And I will wash them off afterwards, they only just require a wipe. I've also got this one. This was when Julia released the Electric Fields collection, which is a bit more steampunky. So it does have looks like nuts and bolts type and electricity, but I mean you still use it for anything. Now I'm going to go with the Salvaged Patina, I think, for this. So let's get a bit of Salvaged Patina. One of my favourites, I think the Peacock Feathers used to be my really favourite Distress Ink, and because I always think of this as being sort of like a lighter version of Peacock Feathers, it's also nearly my favourites. There we go, have a bit there, let's have a little bit, let's move these out the way. This is, I don't know if you all find this, you start off with a bit of space, and then before you know it, you're sort of like hemming yourself into a corner, and you can't hardly move for products around you. There we go. That's in that corner. So 1, 2. I generally tend to work in a bit of 3. So we've got there. Let's have it going across the 2 pages. So again, just then that gives that sort of continuation into the other page. It's just, even if I'm not going to do the other page, I just like it just to have that little bit of so it looks like it's part of it rather than just a blank page there. There we go. And actually I might do a little bit down there just to, and just do it quite light. I think I may have done it too light, but sometimes you think it's too light and actually when you lift it up there is colour there. You just can't see. Look, I'm molting again. Can't even blame the cat, it is actually me. So actually, oh, before I put that away, when I do pages, I like there to be an edge, so I don't necessarily have to have it black, but I am going to just go round with a little bit of the blue just to give the edge a little bit of a dark, not darkness, but make it a little bit darker than the centre. And it's really just sort of to create a frame so it draws your eye in. I've got a very squeaky chair. And sometimes I do this like directly with the ink pad onto this side, but today I'm just going to, because I've got the brush out, I'm just going to go halfway along here. I'm not going to go all the way, I'm just going to go so it's fading out. And there we go. Now I could, because this is water reactive ink, splatter this and get some more texture. In fact, I might do that. I'll just do a little bit, so I'll just squirt a bit of water in my hand and then flick. And sometimes it's nice, it gives that like dappled light kind of look. So I'll get my kitchen towel and the amount of time you leave it to settle is sort of something you just have to guesstimate. I sort of don't like to leave it too long. If you leave it too long, the water just dries and it doesn't lift. If you do it too quickly, it hasn't had time to sort of soak any of the ink up. So you sort of have to give it just the right amount of time. Now if I lift that up, not too close, because when I get too close, it goes blurry. So there we go. That's what we've got. So it's almost like a bit of a late summer evening, would we say? Sort of vibe going on. So let's have a look at, I'm feeling that it could be something like these. Potentially maybe a little birdie in there. Oh, I've got that cute little bird there. And small oh, I actually am going to start off with putting some background. So I've got these little dangly hearts here. I think they might look quite nice now. I'm thinking I may go to start with a tone on tone. So let's get a block for them. And I'm going to go, I think possibly with either the pink or the orange, and maybe the pink, because sometimes I like my background stamping to be a bit tone on tone, but then I will also usually then put something contrasting or something a bit more dramatic with black on it as well. So this is just literally to dangle and go in the background. So there we go. And my style, I find, with art journaling sort of varies between really bright and quirky to really dark and vintage or grunge. I don't seem to have a middle ground particularly, but I know that there are some people who really stick to one style, and when I used to do craft fairs, I know that people used to say, oh, you need to have one thing that you do, that you make, that everybody knows you for, not be too eclectic. But I'm afraid, oops, I am eclectic, and I like so many different things, and I don't see why you should have to just stick to one. So just do what you feel. It's always been my motto. So my store would have cards and plaques and jewellery and all sorts on it. There was no theme. There we go. So there's some of the hearts dangling along there, like them. And also, did I see there was some like the smaller, like the actual free flowing hearts? So I think, so to echo that, let's get a piece of kitchen out. I do try to, if I've used like a reactive ink that is going to wipe off easily, I will wipe it. I don't tend to clean Archival off because by the time you usually get round to trying to wipe it off, it's usually dried anyway. But also it gives you stamps a nice coat as well. So I'm wondering what the yellow would look like on the background. I don't know if it would show up enough. We can try it and see. So let's do a little bit. Sometimes like you get a little bit. Oh, I quite like that. I might do a few in yellow and then do a few in orange. I like to start with all this sort of the tone on tone, making the background all fit together, and then eventually I will add those contrasts in. Now this is going to be quite interesting because I'm intending to stamp directly onto the page, which is not something I normally do. I either normally stamp separately onto card and then colour in and stick it on, or I would, if I want it to have more of a flat look, I would stamp onto something like collage tissue and then apply it that way so that it blends but it's still sort of stamped out properly, if you know what I mean. So this is a new journal, so it's quite obviously flat and easy to stamp on, hopefully. But it does mean you have to sort of think a little bit about how you're going to position your stamps on your blocks and things like that if you are wanting it to have a really nice crisp image, as opposed to when I'm doing my background stamping, you know, I'm not really that worried about how it's looking as such, because it is a background. It's going to more than likely get covered up. So I think that's enough. I think that's enough now. It will be, you know, slightly damp because they are inks, so they will have made it slightly damp, but I'm not going to worry too much now. Just trying to now think of how I want this to be. Now the only trouble is I'm going to have her flying because I don't want her landing on anything, because that means I would have to start doing masking. I have got a couple actually of flowers that I could use over the top, so I could do some sort of stamped and then some over the top just to fill in any gaps. So I'm thinking I've got that one there. I do love this dangly one. I think it may be a bit big. If I might have to sort of stamp it from up there. So I'm thinking there. She's going to be flying along. We've got some dangle. We're going to have some of these across the bottom. What else have we got on here? Oh, that's another one there, isn't it? So that's, obviously I haven't used that one before. The thing with Julia's stamp, she has all these lovely little twiddly bits. So you know, you can, if you stamp in directly, you get much more of the effect of those. Got a couple. See, look, there's one of those. There's one of those. So then that would maybe fill that in. If we have one more. Ooh. So now I'm thinking, do I want her sort of in the middle and a big flower this end of the big? That would be a nice balance, actually. Is if I have this one up this end, this one coming down this end. I could even have it coming off. I don't have to have it on the page exactly. We'll have some of the smaller ones, and then we'll have her flying in the middle, and then we'll find a sentiment. That sounds like a plan. There we go. So let's have a go at this now. We need a bigger block. Now I'm going to need it to be don't know if you can hear the siren in the background. There we go. So I'm going to use Archival. Alright, Archival Black. It is my ink of choice, especially for if I want something that's going to dry really quickly, because it does, and also because I tend to use water-based products to colour, although I do sometimes do alcohol markers, but if we're using water-based products, this is ideal. So let's... Right, now I'm using, this is a Super Skinny Slim from Be Crafty, the acrylic block, and I like these because they are thin acrylic, so you can give it a bit of a flex, not too much, but a bit, just to give you that extra pressure. Now because I am going on to a journal, not a normal piece of colour, I'm giving it probably more than I would normally. Oh, lovely. That's that one. So I'm just going to give that a quick wipe, just because I didn't want it all over my fingers more than anything else. So let's, maybe we could put a little one in here and a little one there, just to... I'm putting things all over the place. I'm going to lose them, aren't I? I'm going to have a bigger block than that. Sometimes I find just, I think, oh, I'll go for the smallest block I can, and then I realise how hard it is to hold it. So sometimes you're better off going with one that's a little bit bigger, so that you've got something to grip onto, because when you haven't got much to grip onto, that's when you do what I often do, which is drop your stamp straight onto your work, and it's like, oh. Let's do a bit there, because I don't want it to overlap, because I'm not doing any masking or anything like that. On there. Now this could be more interesting, because I'm right on the spine of the journal, so I'm not quite sure how this will work. Let's do that. Let's maybe lift that one up underneath, and we might be able to get that there. Let's have a look. Yeah, sort of. But what you can always do, I've got a fine line marker, especially with quite doodly style stamps, and this is going to be coloured in, so once it's coloured in, it's alright on the spine, so you're not going to expect that to be looking, you know, 100%. Right, I'm going to leave that side, and I'm going to move on to this side. Oh, shouldn't stick my stamp there really, should I? Let's pop that one back on there. Let's do this one. I have to think then where I'd put my block. Now I am thinking I am going to go a bit off the edge. Sometimes it's nice to go off the edge anyway, because it just gives you a more natural feel. And sometimes when everything's sort of placed very much in the middle of your page, it feels a bit contrived. It's a good word, isn't it? Contrived. Right, so let's I want it to be quite high up. So let's go here. And again, let's try and give it a little bit. I always make sure I'm keeping one hand firmly pressed down so it's not moving, hopefully. There we go. And I have to say, Julia's stamps are, for a start, they're beautiful design, but they're also fantastic stamping quality. Just looking what that says. Happiness blooms from we. Oh, you know what? That's going on there. Normally I would not put my sentiment on till the end, but I'm thinking I want to put it in because if I start putting other things around it, I don't want it to then not have the space. And this is where I always worry, sentiments, because this is how I always feel that if I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to make it with the sentiment. So let's, I'm not going to wiggle it around too much, I'm just going to because I really do panic that I'm going to, oh lovely, brilliant, good stamping from the stamp, I mean. Lovely quality stamps these are. And so now I'm thinking I might just have, I don't want to go to, I'm thinking now might not use those ones, I might just really stick to this. I might just do a couple here, leave that empty there, and then have the bird, because she can be then above where it says happiness blooms from within. I quite like that. I find that will fit just nicely. Now I can't see where I put, oh that's underneath a piece of kitchen towel, that's right. Oh, it wasn't this one I was using before, was it? But we'll stick with that one because then that will match up with that one. So sort of those match with that one, this matches with that one. I think they may all be off the same. They may be off the same stamp set. So let's go one up there. And like I said, this is very unusual for me. I don't often stamp my images directly into my journal, so pushing the boundaries. Right, so that can go on. Nope, I've put the wrong stamps on the wrong stamps. See, I was right that they did go with the ones I said. I'm going to put that one back. I'm not going to put that one on today. And then finally we'll have the bird. Little birdie flying. I don't know whether to put her right there or up there. I think perhaps something in the middle. There we go. Now I'm hoping that my jelly roll pens, oops, got stuck to my hand, are going to colour nicely over the top without taking away too much of the detail of the stamps. Just trying to find where I got her off of. There she goes. So the three stamps I use, just in case I know that people usually do like to know, is the Garden Tots Polkadot Florals, Edna and Suzie. They're from the Birds collection, and I apologise for leaning over, the Garden Tots Dotty Daisy. So those are the three. But what I will do is I will put everything in the description box below as well. Okay, so here are my pens. Now what I might do is what I'll probably do is start a little bit of this off now, and then I will turn the camera off and do it off camera so that you don't have to sit and watch me colour the whole thing in. So I'm going to start. This is the orangey coloured Stardust, and the thing with a jelly roll pen, what you really want is to be quite slow in a way to give the ink time to really come through. And I do tend to colour in sort of like little circles. It's got like a little tiny roller ball in the end, so if you do it nice and slowly and gently, it's quite nice and relaxing, then you get a nice flow of the ink coming through. And this is the sort of art journey, if you really just want to relax, what you've done is you've created your own colouring page. Now it's not totally opaque, I can see that straight away because I can see the ink underneath, but in a way, you know, that I quite like that. I quite like being able to see the colours still and the pattern still underneath, but it is more or less covering it so that you can see that that's now coloured in. So we'll go with that one. We'll go with this purpley, because orange, and then we'll have purple spots. So what I will do is I'll probably do this flower, and then I will switch off the camera and do the rest. Actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring you down a little bit. So I'm sorry if this makes you feel a bit. There we go. So you're a bit closer in there. So let's go with some pink. some pink flower petals. Now you can, with these pens as well, you can water them out if you want like a more washed out or a more gentler colour or sparkle. I'm going full on bling. That is going to be my theme for this page. For the flowers, it's going to be full on bling. So if sometimes you might think, oh, it's not flowed well enough, so just go back over. So I'm going to do that one pink, this one pink. Well, it makes a really nice noise. Well, I think it's a nice. I think some strange noises are nice noises. So I'm trying to sort of stay away from not go over the line, but because they're not totally opaque, these glittery ones. I'm not sure with the other ones, the metallic and the fluorescent, I have a feeling are probably going to be more opaque because these have got the glitter in. Obviously have a little bit more of a translucency, because otherwise you just wouldn't see the glitter. So they are going to be a little bit more translucent. We'll try one of the metallics maybe on the stem to see in a minute, just to compare and contrast. So yeah, just keep on little tiny circles, and it does, even though you feel like you're only doing tiny circles, it actually doesn't take as long as you think, but sometimes it's nice to just sit and colour in. Hope it's relaxing for you and not boring. Oh, and while I am just sitting here colouring, if you do enjoy my videos, do please give them a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, I'd really love you to subscribe to my channel. It all helps me to get seen more, for YouTube to like promote my videos or suggest my videos. The more interaction I have with people through the liking and subscribing and commenting, the more they will promote my videos to other people. Not that anybody really understands the inner workings of YouTube's mind. So again, if you want to comment, if you've got any questions, do please pop them in the comments underneath as well. Oh, I don't know what colour to go with now. I'm thinking I went purple in there. I'm going to go a bit more purple on these petals. That was the Stardust. Now, oh no, this is a metallic. Well, we're going to find out now, aren't we, how they look different. I suddenly thought it's got the solid with the sparkly, and it does. They do actually say on them as well. That does say metallic. That's what I sort of spotted. I suddenly realised. So yes, so the metallics are much more opaque. That was probably metallic as well that I put on the spots, wasn't it? Have I got a purpley? Oh no, there is a purpley Stardust. Oh well. So, but the same technique for whether it's the Stardust or the metallic or the fluorescent. I don't know if there are any other ones. What I used to do years ago, when I first ever was doing card making, and I was first ever sort of starting to do little craft fairs and things. You know, the peel-offs that I don't think they're quite as popular anymore, but they were really popular. And I used to get ones that had pictures and stick them down, and then use my jelly roll pens to colour them in. That was quite fun, and it was the same sort of therapeutic nature as this, really. I'm trying to colour without putting my hand in the way, which is quite tricky when you're colouring. So I don't need to worry about showing you the green bit, do I now? Because you've seen the metallic. I might try the little, put the fluorescent on. Now the fluorescents, or the neons, not sure what they're called now. I'll have to have a look at what they're called. Moonlight fluorescents. Obviously on black they are absolutely stunning. The Stardust, you can still see the colour a little bit on black, but obviously the sparkle is the main thing that comes through, because they have less pigment in, it's more of the sparkle. So you see the sparkle, you can see a little bit of the colour. The metallics are lovely on black, and obviously the fluorescents are brilliant on black, because that's just, you know, what fluorescents do, isn't it? So if you're looking for pens that, you know, are going to work on black for you, then these, especially the metallics and the fluorescents, I would say are ideal. If you just want something with a bit of subtle bling, or maybe not even so subtle bling, then they are really lovely to use. Now I'm going to put a bit of those circles in the pink, and let's just get the green fluorescent. Which one's the green fluorescent? That's the fluorescent. Moonlight, yeah. So let's have a look and see. I'm trying to see where the stem is. So that's the stem there. Now, to be fair, that in the 5 colours you get for the fluorescents, the yellow, orange and pink are the ones that I would say are truly fluorescent. The green and the blue I wouldn't say are as fluorescent. They're still quite bright, but I'm not sure I would say they were fluorescent as such, but they're still, as you can see, there's still a lot of colour. They're very pigmented. That's not there. And as you can see, if I was to carry on colouring this whole thing in real time, we would be here quite a long time. So I will, when I finish this little bit, I will switch the camera off, and then I will come back to you when the colouring is all done, so that you can see it. And I will in a second just lift this up so that you can see what I've done so far, because I think until you sort of catch the light with it, oh, there you go. So if you catch, ooh, I'm caught on a pen. There. So I will go through and do the rest of that, and then come back to you. So I'll see you in a bit. Hello again, I'm back. I've finished colouring in. The pens are really nice. The dark blue, I did have one moment where it just wasn't flowing. So what I did was I just sort of run it on my, I better see, I don't know, on my thumb. And I think what happened was a little bit of the glitter had caught and it wasn't allowing it to let the ink through. So if you ever do get that with any of them, maybe just give them a little rub onto something else, maybe not your skin. I always do tend to put them on my hand, but you probably shouldn't, but maybe a little bit of damp tissue just to clear any blockage. I realised as I was finishing off colouring in that I hadn't actually done any more black stamping in the background, but I don't want to add that in now. But what I do think now is, because there is those sort of focal points, I do need to sort of just put a little black line. So I'm just going to take my Archival ink pad and just give it a little edge, because I just think it now just needs that slightly, just to bring it all in a bit better. But then I've still got the Salvaged Patina sort of drawing the edge in, and I'm going to do the same as I did with the Salvaged Patina, just take it a little bit up the side, just to bring that page into it as well. I really did enjoy using those pens. They're probably not going to be my go-to as such. I still will probably use things like my Ecolines and watercolours and things like that to do my main colouring, but for a bit of a change, and to give you, when you just want a little bit more of a glitzy look, then they are really lovely to use. So I'll just lift them up here. I am thinking that what I might do is use them on a black page, maybe another time in one of the Chatty videos. So if you've got any ideas of things, obviously as long as I've got the products of what I could do, then do please leave them in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you very much for taking time to watch today, and I will put a list of what I've used in the description box below this video. So until next time, bye!